Essay number 72, The Art of Awareness, or How to Not Completely Hate Yourself. All hatred is self-hatred, and everything is feedback. I need you to remember those two sentences. Tattoo them on your brain. Write them on your mirror. Because when your chest feels like it's being twisted into a pretzel and you're spiraling into what feels like a bottomless pit of self-loathing, those two sentences might be the only things that can pull you out. Here's what nobody wants to admit. Everything you experience is a reflection of you. Not because the world revolves around you, but because all you can ever perceive is what you're conscious enough to see. The depth of your experience is directly proportional to the expansion of your awareness. Nothing is as it is, everything is as you are. Think about it. A flower isn't beautiful on its own. It's just random matter vibrating in space until you show up to see it, smell it, touch it. Your recognition gives it beauty. Your awareness gives it meaning. You're not in the world is in you. That sounds like abstract spiritual nonsense, but it's pointing to something real. When something feels heavy and wrong and negative, it's not about what's happening outside. It's about what you're not healing inside. Awareness is the antidote to problems that feel unsolvable. Just knowing that your ego is making up stories about what other people think, creating elaborate torture scenarios in your head, sometimes that knowing alone is enough to make it stop. The art of learning to be okay with yourself starts with unassigning good and bad to everything you feel and see. Even the darkest, heaviest experiences ultimately serve you by opening you to truths you couldn't have seen otherwise. So let me give you 12 things to remember when you're feeling particularly terrible about yourself. First, your actions are more powerful than anything anyone can say about you. When you're spiraling into self-hatred, it usually comes with this feeling that you have zero control over how people see you. But here's the truth. Not one word anybody says about you is more powerful than who you actually are and how you actually behave. You hold the power. You call the shots. How other people choose to perceive you is their problem to work through. How much you let their perceptions affect you is yours. Second, what you think others think matters more than what they actually think. Once you realize that what other people think is mostly an illusion you're creating, something interesting happens. You notice that how other people see you seems to shift as your mindset does. When you hate yourself, everyone seems to hate you. When you're confident, everyone seems supportive. Funny how that works. Almost like you're not actually reading their minds. You're just projecting your own thoughts and calling it theirs. Third, your reactions matter more than their actions, and you can choose how you react. Your mental state doesn't have to depend on what people say or think about you. You'll never know the entirety of what people are saying or thinking anyway. Those conversations are happening with or without your knowledge. They always have been. The only thing that changes is how much you let these hypothetical opinions change you. They can say what they want. You can react how you choose. Fourth, when it comes to love and sex and attraction, the people worth being with are far more accepting than you think. No true love story in history began because someone thought someone else's abs were perfect. As long as you're seeking validation from people who will never give it, you're keeping yourself from people who would love you regardless of your imperfections. The person obsessing over your flaws isn't your future partner, it's you. You're supposed to be embarrassed by your younger self. It's a mark of progress. It means you can look back and think, how was I ever at that place? Which means you're no longer there. If you look back at your younger self and think you had it all figured out, that means you stopped growing, and that means you stopped living. Sixth, there are root problems, and then there are symptoms that keep showing up. Most people spend their entire lives only addressing symptoms. Losing weight won't fix your body image problem, no matter how much you convince yourself it will. Getting a promotion won't fix your self-worth issues. Getting into a relationship won't fix your loneliness. You're treating the fever without addressing the infection. And you can keep doing that, but eventually you'll have to deal with the root cause. You can choose to do it now, or life will force you to do it later. There's no fear or insecurity you have that millions of others haven't already felt. Self-loathing is isolating by nature. It makes you the weird one and everyone else the normal, well-adjusted judges. But here's the uncomfortable truth. There's nothing you've done that hasn't been done before. Nothing you've felt that hasn't been felt before. The story of being human is universal. It's the belief that you're the only one experiencing it that intensifies the suffering. Eighth, at any given time, you're really only worried about one or two people's opinions. Not everyone, not people, usually just one or two specific individuals. They're usually the ones you feel unaccepted by, the almost relationships, the slightly disapproving parents, the someone you've been trying to impress for years. We can't actually worry about everyone. Our brains don't work that way. Put a face to your worry, and you'll find the faceless crowd is really just one or two very familiar people. Nobody is thinking about you as much as you're thinking about you. The brutal truth: everyone else is running around worrying about themselves just as much as you're worrying about yourself. That person you're convinced is judging your every move, they're too busy worrying about their own moves to notice yours. You're the star of your own movie, but you're barely an extra in everyone else's. 10th, there's too much at stake to waste time on things that don't matter. Your life is finite, your energy is limited, your capacity for joy is precious, and you're spending it on worrying about things that are impermanent, unimportant, and ultimately just distractions from what could bring you actual happiness. 11th, your panic is directly related to wanting to change yourself for someone else. If you didn't care about pleasing them, if you didn't feel you needed their approval to be okay, you wouldn't be panicking. That anxiety isn't about them. It's about how much you feel you need to change or prove yourself to be worthy of their acceptance. You've externalized your sense of worth, and as long as it stays external, it can never be stable. 12th, the solution is to make something matter more than how you're perceived. This is the secret to ending the torture of self-consciousness. Find something more important than other people's opinions. If all you have to offer the world is a nice body or impressive lifestyle or social media presence, of course you're anxious. It's all meaningless. It can all be taken away. It's all dependent on others' validation. The moment you know you're worth more than how you're seen, the moment you genuinely believe your life is about more than just you, is the moment everyone else's petty concerns become irrelevant. You become blind to judgment because you're focused on what actually matters, whatever genuine contribution you have to make to this world. Here's what I want you to understand. Self-hatred isn't actually about you. It's about the gap between who you are and who you think you need to be for others. It's about the stories you're telling yourself about what everyone else is thinking. But those stories aren't true. They're not even other people's stories. They're yours. You're the author, the narrator, and the critic all at once. The art of awareness isn't about becoming a different person. It's about recognizing that the person you are is already enough. That the hatred you feel isn't coming from outside, it's coming from your own refusal to accept yourself as you are. Everything is feedback. Every trigger, every insecurity, every moment of self-loathing is showing you where you still need to heal, what you still need to accept, who you still need to forgive, usually yourself. All hatred is self-hatred, because you can only hate in others what you refuse to accept in yourself. You can only be hurt by opinions that confirm your own worst fears about who you are. So the question isn't how to make everyone like you. The question is how to stop needing everyone to like you. The question isn't how to be perfect. The question is how to be okay with being imperfect. The question isn't how to avoid judgment. The question is how to stop judging yourself so harshly that everyone else's judgment feels like confirmation. You don't need to be different. You need to be aware. Aware that your thoughts aren't facts. Aware that your fears aren't prophecies. Aware that your self-hatred isn't truth. It's just an old pattern you haven't broken yet. But you can break it, starting now, starting with awareness. Starting with remembering all hatred is self-hatred, and everything is feedback. The rest is just noise.